Violent Night, folks, is out in theaters. I have seen this film, Violent Night. Violent Night stars David Harbour, who we know from Stranger Things, many other great roles.
Black Widow.
He's an amazing character actor. And as Kris Kringle, he is fantastic. The movie starts off with a couple Santa Clauses sitting at a bar on Christmas night. David Harbour is just drinking. He is drunk as a skunk, drinking a beer, walks out on the roof. And, you hear him talk about, oh, I got all these presents to deliver. And they think, oh, be quiet, you drunk Santa. And he flies off on his sleigh with all the reindeer, proceeds to vomit out the side of the sleigh to have the vomit land on the bartender who didn't believe he was actually Santa. This is the opening scene of the movie. Then it moves on to you meet this family. I forget the name of the family. What was the name of the family there?
Yeah, let me look it up here.
Alan?
No, all these details we forget. It's the Lightstone family.
The Lightstone family. The Lightstone family. And the Lightstone family are having their annual Christmas. They're a very wealthy family at a mansion, lots of servants there. And it has these kind of diehard vibes because, some of these servants, they're actually people have infiltrated the servants, and there's about to have some bad things going down with guns. Is about to happen. Some hostages are going to be taken. The Lightstone family will be taken hostage, and they need the money out of the vault. It's a very simple premise, right? And John Leguizamo, we learn his character is he just calls himself Mr. Scrooge, and Mr. Scrooge is in charge of this entire operation to get the fortune of the Lightstone family. They actually technically stole this money, which was supposed to be used to bribe people in the Middle East, and it's in a vault on the Lightstone family property. The matriarch of the family is Gertrude Lightstone, played by Beverly D'Angelo, which is perfect because she was in Christmas Vacation, so that makes a lot of sense. And you have the two her children kind of jockeying for position. Jason Lightstone, and then played by Alex Hassel, and then Alva Lightstone, played by Edie Patterson. They're the kids of Gertrude, and they're just sucking up to her. Why? Because they want money. And the daughter, Trudy, her name is Trudy, of Jason and Linda. She believes in Santa Claus. She absolutely believes in Santa Claus, even though she's kind of like teased for it. Like, how do you believe in Santa Claus? She believes in him. And Santa, as he's delivering presents, ends up coming to the Lightstone property to deliver gifts, and is suddenly confronted with this group of people pulling off this heist. My apologies for this horribly I'm still out of it, folks. So, apologies. But it's this movie. What makes this movie is David Harbour as this character. David Harbour and the actress who plays Trudy Lightstone is phenomenal. This young actress. Why is she
Leah
not?
Brady.
What's her name?
Leah Brady.
Leah Brady is so good because she's like, to me, she stands in contrast. We were talking about, other Star Wars stuff earlier, in contrast to the young actress who played a young Princess Leia, who was not great. She's really good. She's really good. This young girl, and it also has like Home Alone vibes, but this is Home Alone if it were R-rated, incredibly violent. Once it kind of kicks off, the movie does start off a little slow, kind of like setting up all the chess pieces and you can kind of see things coming. You kind of see like, oh, they're infiltrating. Okay, there's twists and reversals and lots of violence. And when Santa comes in, he's confronted with this, and he's just not taking it. He's just not taking it. And there's a scene where Santa takes up. This is when the movie sold me. It's about a third of the way in the movie. Santa Claus, played by David Harbour, takes off. He's like bloodied and he's been cut. And what he takes off his Santa outfit, and you see him, he's covered in snowflake tattoos. It's the audience was howling. It's ridiculous. He has to sew up an injury. You know, he was cut on the side of his torso, and he's sewing up the wound. And then you kind of get this flashback to this dark past. He's been alive for more than 1,000 years. He uses magic but doesn't really understand exactly how it works. He's like a tortured warrior from a different era who uses a giant sledgehammer, like a giant hammer that he calls Skull Crusher. And you see like these flashbacks of him as a barbarian murdering people in the past. So you see that like Santa somehow has been cursed with having to be in the Santa form, maybe as sort of penance for being a murderer in his original origin. And they just, what I love about it is they don't tell you everything. You only get a little glimpse, and you can kind of read into it. He doesn't really go into a whole lot of detail about his past. It's just casually mentioned. And I love it because too many movies today, they'll ruin everything. They assume the audience is stupid and they just want to explain everything to you. And you don't need it. You don't need it. It's so perfect the way it does that. And the movie even has like, it has kind of almost like Evil Dead vibes, where like it's just the violence is so over the top. So it's like there's parts where it's like, yeah, it's comedic, like especially with John Leguizamo. Um, but then also it gets super dark, and you kind of learn the rules of how Santa works. Like his sack is kind of an endless, like it's like a portal to pulling out presents. He has like this magical scroll he can pull up to see if someone is naughty or nice. And then it gives you reasons why they are naughty or nice. You'll see like a person's name, and then it's like, the attributes of why they made the nice list or why they made the naughty list. Whenever he's in proximity to someone, he can pull out the list and then see if that person is naughty or nice. So,
And the whole chimney thing as well.
what's that?
And how he gets up and down chimneys so fast.
How he gets up and down chimneys. This movie is super fun. It's as much a horror film, a violent horror film, as it is a comedy. That's why I mentioned Evil Dead, and it's fantastic. I saw it twice. I saw it once on Monday, and then I saw it last night with a big group of people. Everybody loved it.
I saw it Monday too. That's weird.
I was there. I sat near you.
Yeah, I sat next to you too.
Same.
Yeah, no, this movie plays well in an audience. I mean, I can't stress more. Go see it in a theater. See it with people. This is a communal experience. And the other thing you didn't mention was this is very much a Christmas movie as well. I mean, it tells the ending particularly has a very much Santa Christmas vibe to it. And I put this one up earlier. It looks like Home Alone meets Die Hard meets Bad Santa. I think you're absolutely correct on all three accounts there. The homage to Home Alone is amazing in the fact that it's rated R violence. Home Alone.
It is. Yeah, we're not going to ruin it.
Yeah.
Get into it, but there is a Home Alone inspired scene that is so violently over the top and painful. Like the audience is going like, "Oh!" Like the best part was seeing it with a big audience and hearing like that was really fun for me. Seeing it a second time was like looking at like my friends, like we're just sitting there and like just the reaction, like oh, like people, because the violence is so, yeah, it's so over the top, but in a good way, and also plays it realistic. I really hope they make a sequel to this.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. This movie is so ripe for a sequel, and in all the good ways. The story possibilities are amazing.
The story
I mean,
possibilities
it's hard to screw up a sequel to this because there's so you talked about not revealing a lot. Well, that's the great thing about sequels. You can now reveal a little bit more.
Right.
And I'm
So,
interested.
like, you get a little glimpse of his origin, but they don't tell it to you. They don't tell it.
Mhm.
They just give you a suggestion. Also, you hear about his relationship with Mrs. Claus and
Yeah.
how much he misses Mrs. Claus, and then the whole thing with Skull Crusher. Skull Crusher was his hammer, and I used it like a surgeon. Like it's just bizarre. Like, this is who Santa Claus is. And when he, oh my God, it's just the audience loved it. It's a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's a real Christmas movie because the heart of that movie is that character Trudy. She's the
Mhm.
heart of the film because
Yeah.
she believes. And they
Because
talk about,
he's a broken Santa because capitalism has taken away the Christmas magic. That's the essential motivation of why Santa has this attitude
yeah,
that he
and he makes a lot of jokes of like, "Oh, here's your video game. Everything's a video game, video game." He's sort of reaching into his Santa sack, trying to pull out something he could use as a weapon. It's all video games or DVDs, which is it's just, and what's cool about it is it tells you the rules. If you're gonna do anything fantasy, you have to know the rules, and the audience needs to know how the rules work so that you can believe it, right? The rules are this, they set it up, and then it uses the rules in such a creative way. I loved it. I might even see it again, might see it again just for fun. It's just and it was a packed crowd last night who loved it.